need to remember what you were trying to say as well. You were trying to defend the innocence of childhood.
Yep.
I mean, you don't really need to have a legal defence to say those sort of things, or should you? Or
well, you shouldn't have to, Fred. And I think if only the public knew what was going on and what the consequences have been of redefining marriage. People were told in 2017 during the marriage plebiscite, love is love. It only affects the loving couple, but the consequences have been far-reaching. It's weaponised these anti-discrimination laws. It's almost destroyed women's sport, and we're seeing our children being indoctrinated into radical LGBTIQA plus gender-fluid ideology. This is where we've got to as a result of giving into identity politics back in 2017, and all these consequences were carefully hidden. When we raised them in the years leading up to the plebiscite, we were ridiculed by the gay activists like Christine Foster, Tony Abbott's sister, who said that Christian schools would never be affected. And of course, they've been doing nothing but going after Christian schools ever since to try and stop them from teaching the truth about marriage and gender. So we've unleashed a whirlwind here, and freedom of speech is one of the big casualties that we're seeing because of the weaponisation of the human rights commissions and these kangaroo courts.
Do you think the people who voted in favour during that plebiscite envisaged that it would one day lead to this?
No, I don't think they did. We tried very hard. Our campaign, I was involved with the Coalition for Marriage at the time. We tried to tell people this is a referendum on freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and what your children will be taught in school. But we were outgunned by an activist class that had the woke corporates behind them. It had big tech, it had the media, had the ABC. And so despite our best efforts, we were unable to get that message through. But everything that we said would happen has happened much quicker than we thought.
And just before you go, Lyle, just to broaden our perspective here, for years, even people on the centre-right of politics have subscribed to the ultra-liberal view of the world. You do you, man, as long as you're not causing me harm, then everything's cool. Is this a viable long-term strategy for a culture? I mean, can a liberal culture survive without some element of, for example, Christian principles?
No, it can't, Fred. And we're seeing this play out with cases like mine, where we've set up a clash of freedoms in our society because okay, everyone's free to do whatever they like, but then we've got to decide, well, is it right for gender fluid drag queens who promote the sex industry to be in front of children? Well, a Christian or a Judeo-Christian ethic would say no. We understand from history and tradition and from our values that have been passed on through the generations that you protect the innocence of childhood. It's only in this mad moment in the 21st century where we're departing from this. And I think history has shown us the American experiment was set up in democracy based on the fact that virtue is what has to be at the basis of this experiment in democracy. And of course, Australia borrowed the best from the American system. You can't have democracy and freedom without virtue underpinning it. And because freedom isn't freedom to do whatever I like, freedom is to do what I ought to do. And that's how we have true freedom. And sadly, we've lost sight of this in this liberal experiment that we've embarked on.